Every trader looks at Nifty going up, price rising. It looks bullish. But is this fresh buying, or are short sellers simply closing their positions, pushing price higher? Price alone can't tell you that. Open interest gives us another clue. And for an options trader, that leads to four important questions. Where are the strongest support and resistance levels? Were those positions built today, or are they old? Are those positions still holding, or are they fading? And overall, which side has more positioning? Four charts on OptionX help answer these questions. Call put, OI change, total OI versus time, and PCR. And at the end, we'll use all four to build a real trade. Let's start with the first one. Call put OI. Call put OI shows call OI and put OI at every strike side by side. The bars themselves also tell you something. Hatched areas show OI added today. Hollow areas show OI that was reduced. So without checking every strike one by one, you can quickly see where OI is building and where it's being reduced. Nifty is at 24,395 rupees. Look at 24,800. Call OI here has grown from 59.1 lakh to around 1.1 crore today, up 82.64%. That's one of the biggest and fastest growing call OI positions on the chart. Large call OI can act as resistance because significant call positioning is concentrated there, so 24,800 becomes an important resistance level. Now look at 24,000. Put OI has grown from 78.4 lakh to 97.1 lakh, up 23.9%. That's a strong increase in put OI. Large put OI can act as support, so 24,000 becomes our important support level. Now we know where the important levels are. But were these positions already sitting there, or were they created today? That's where OI change comes in. This chart shows how much OI was added or removed at each strike since the market opened. So it tells us whether the levels we just found are fresh or old. At 24,800, call OI is up 48.9 lakh today, up 82.6%. The biggest move on the chart. At 24,000, put OI is up 18.7 lakh, up 23.9%. So both our outer levels were built today. They're not just old OI sitting on the chart. Now look a little closer to Nifty. At 24,200, put OI has grown to 63 lakh, up over 18.2%. And at 24,600, call OI has grown to 90.4 lakh, up over 13.3%. So we also have meaningful fresh positioning closer to spot. Now we know where the important levels are, and we know they're fresh. But are those positions still holding through the day? That's where total OI versus time comes in. Total OI versus time. This chart lets us track OI through the day and see whether that positioning is holding or fading. Let's track our two inner levels, 24,600 calls and 24,200 puts. Both built up steadily through the morning. By 11:10, call OI at 24,600 had climbed to 95.6 lakh, while put OI at 24,200 was at 65.2 lakh. Around midday, call OI at 24,600 dropped sharply to 85.9 lakh near 12 o'clock. But then it recovered just as quickly. Put OI at 24,200 kept building through this, reaching 73.6 lakh around 1:30. From there, the two sides behaved differently. Call OI at 24,600 held its ground and ended around 91.2 lakh, still close to its highs. Put OI at 24,200 gave back more, falling to 61.4 lakh by the end. So the call side stayed relatively strong through the afternoon, while the put side faded more into the close. Now we know not just where the OI is, but how that positioning behaved through the day. But what does the overall options market look like? That's where PCR comes in. PCR, put call ratio, compares put OI with call OI overall. Above 1 means there is more put OI than call OI. Below 1 means there is more call OI than put OI. Traders often use this as one indication of overall positioning, but it shouldn't be read on its own. Today, PCR opened around 0.76. It built up through the morning and peaked near 12 o'clock at 0.88, but it never crossed 1. From there, it dropped steadily through the afternoon down to 0.77. So call OI remained higher than put OI overall throughout the session. That gives us a relatively cautious positioning picture rather than a strongly bullish one. And the timing is interesting. PCR peaked around midday and then faded, which is consistent with the put side OI we saw cooling off later in the day. So now we have the full picture. We know the important levels. We know those levels were built today. We know how the inner positioning behaved through the day. And we know the overall market positioning stayed below a PCR of 1. So let's turn that information into a trade. The trade Nifty is at 24,395 rupees. We sell the 24,200 put and the 24,600 call. These strikes are closer to spot, where we found meaningful fresh OI positioning and where the premiums are higher. Then we hedge them at the outer levels. Buy the 24,000 put and buy the 24,800 call. These are the same two outer strikes where we found the strongest fresh OI positioning. Together, that's an iron condor. We're not choosing these strikes randomly. We're using the OI data to identify where positioning is concentrated, then building the trade around those levels. The net premium is about 48 rupees. Funds needed are roughly 71,814 rupees, and the platform shows a probability of profit of around 61%. Now let's quickly put everything together. Call put OI showed us the important outer levels, 24,000 and 24,800. OI change confirmed that both levels were built fresh today. Total OI versus time showed the 24,600 call, positioning holding relatively strong, while the 24,200 put positioning faded more into the close. PCR showed that call OI remained higher overall, with the ratio staying below 1 throughout the session. And using all of that, we built an iron condor, selling 24,200 and 24,600 and hedging at 24,000 and 24,800. This is how OI becomes useful, not as one number, not as a prediction, but as a way to understand where option positioning is building, where it's holding, and where it's changing. Before your next options trade, don't just look at price, look at what's happening behind it. But knowing where price might go is only half the picture. Want to know how much it can move and which strike is actually worth trading? Watch this video on implied volatility, showing right now on your screen. Subscribe to OptionX for more videos like this.